Hello everybody and welcome to this little broadcast. I did promise you I would look at the chart of Italy, and I have been doing so prior to this election result coming out, which of course wasn't surprising because it was expected, but I wasn't really getting a good feel for anything happening in this chart. Now I am using the chart for 1946, 10th June 1946, which gives a Scorpio rising, and as you can see it's got a lot of planets there in the 7th house. And interestingly, let's just look at the aspects there. Right now, we have Uranus on the descendant in Taurus. Now, this chart has got the ascendant at 20 degrees. I was using a chart with it at 17 degrees, but I couldn't get that one on screen. So let's just pretend this is 17 degrees, which means Uranus was exactly in Taurus on the descendant. And Saturn, which was at 17, 18 degrees of Aquarius, would have been squaring that position, and later on in the year Saturn is going to go on to oppose the midheaven, you can roughly see it here because Saturn, as it moves into Pisces, will be directly opposing the midheaven. This chart is slightly off for the time compared to the one that I used, but as I say, it wouldn't come up on the screen. So the first thing that I was thinking about this chart, because we're going to go to some of the things here I've got on my getter, is not an awful lot is happening. I don't think there's going to be any change. And when Mars opposes from Pisces, the midheaven in Virgo, we are going to see a collapse of the government. So I'm predicting that this government will not last, and there'll be a collapse in the new year, maybe around March, April. The reason I'm saying it is the last time that Saturn was at that position, Silvio Berlusconi's government collapsed. And when I've looked back at other aspects, for example, solar arc Pluto is currently squaring the natal Venus-Saturn, which is in Cancer. The last time Pluto was doing that by transit, there was also some sort of collapse of the government, right? There was also an earthquake, so we can look out for that as well. But in terms of politics, I really don't think there's been an earthquake at all, because Giorgio Maloni is not all she says. Now, I'm sure you can see what's on the screen. I'll let that speak for itself without going into any detail. As did Matteo Salvini. Let me just see that you've got that up there. Yes. Then the other thing I would like to highlight about Georgia, she is typical of the American neocons. She was pro the war in Libya. She's pro-Ukraine, and has, although her stance before was better relations with Putin, now she's pro-Ukraine. So she's got a general neocon stance. She's pro-NATO. She will support anything the Americans do in terms of military. She's pro the EU. She used to be a bit more Eurosceptic, but now her position is to make Italy stronger and to protect Italy's interests within the EU, so she's much more strongly EU. She's also very pro, like I said, she's pro-EU, pro-NATO, pro-war. It's a neocon, pro-Likud party Israel, like most of the rhino neocons are in America. She is connected to the Aspen Institute, which is a Rockefeller outfit. Some people say she might be getting funding from them. All right. She's been tutored by Steve Bannon. Now, while I actually a lot prefer Steve Bannon to Joe Rogan in many ways, he is kind of skull and bones guy. He's been an insider. So I'm skeptical with how much we can trust him, even though when he comes on Alex Jones, I don't really have a problem with anything he's saying. She was also under the wing of Berlusconi, Bunga Bunga Party, Berlusconi. And he also carries these very traditional neocon kind of views, as you can see there. Now, other information about her. Let's see what we got there. There you go. Says, yes, live in blah, 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 blah. Okay, just a little bit there. I'll just put that up on the screen for you. Also has worked with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, among others. And so she's one of the usual suspects. So while she's talking tough against the sort of LGBT lobby and against immigration, I don't see anything happening. Why I don't think this government has survived? Well, one, Silvio Berlusconi will stab any of his allies in the back if it's expedient. And right now, because of the proportional representation in the Italian government, she has to align with Forza Italia, which is Silvio Berlusconi's party, and also Lega Nord, which is Matteo Salvini's party. Salvini is more pro-Russia, so they will not agree on foreign policy, and Salvini is also an opportunist who wants the limelight, and he'll also be eager to elbow her out the way. Now remember, in the last elections, Five Star had a surge, and everyone is excited about Five Star, then their support collapsed. Lega Nord had a surge, then their support collapsed. So it goes in these waves. Undoubtedly her support will collapse, this government will collapse, because it is a very tenuous little coalition there, can easily go wrong when egos get involved. That's why I just don't think this coalition in this government is going to last. I don't think it's going to deliver. I don't think people on our side have any reason to be excited, simply because she is one of the normal suspects and very much entrenched in traditional rhino neocon thinking. So May, while she's talking a good game in certain respects, I don't think she's going to be able to deliver. And remember, when Salvini was very successful for a time in stopping the migrant ships coming from Libya and all the immigrants coming across, but then that was all collapsed. It seems very easy in Italy for a government to collapse. And a lot of people are extremely cautious in Italy, because they know that every government comes in, promises a lot, nothing happens, ends in a mess, collapses. That's just the way it goes. There was even a very good article in The Atlantic, which you know is an extremely globalist-orientated magazine. I think Lauren Jobs runs it, and she's like globalist, neoliberal, elitist through and through. And she wrote an article about why this Giorgia is not right-wing fascist at all, and she covers many of the issues that I've covered, that she's actually a friend of the global elite, like I say, supporting back to the Libyan war, on board with Ukraine. She's on board with most of the things, and she's not going to rock the boat on the EU in terms of being a Eurosceptic. So when you narrow it down, not a lot is going on, and that's why I feel when I looked at the chart, I didn't see much, and that's for good reason. I did see this Uranus on the Descendant, which says to me this is another sort of fake surprise for the Italian people. Uranus on the Descendant said to me they are getting they're going to get a surprise when nothing changes, when nothing happens, and when they're lumbered with another globalist candidate. So that's my take on that. Hope you enjoyed it.